James Twin for the untouchable true school sports. Let's go, baby. Bow!
Be careful what you wish for because it can become a reality.
Yeah. The untouchable true school sports empire, and y'all know the rest, man. Now listen, I gotta go ahead and talk about this because I'm really excited about this card. I think it's a good card. You know, I haven't been to Texas in about 3 years, and Texas at one point in time was like a second home to me. You know, I lived in Texas for 1 year. This fight's gonna be in Texas, and it's gonna be my favorite city in Texas, out there in Frisco, Texas, at the Star, where I've covered. You know, I covered a fight there before, so really excited about this. You guys got a double header. You know, you guys got two Mexican American stars in boxing, sharing the same card. You got Jesse Bam Rodriguez and Diego Pacheco both on this card. So we'll start with the main event, and then we'll go to the co-main event. So the main event, you got Jesse Bam Rodriguez, San Antonio's very own. He's putting his, you know, WBC title on the line, Swift flyweight title on the line, and he's taking on the WBC champion, a guy that, you know, really came from nowhere to most boxing fans, including myself, because, you know, I love the African fighters, but they're not always in your face. So with the African fighters, they gotta make you pay attention to them and make you, like, you know, get on your radar, and he's done that. You know, he went to Japan, he fought a very good fighter in Kosai Tanaka, 4-division champion in Kosai Tanaka, in his backyard, and it was a very close fight. He got a knockdown in the fight, which I believe was the difference in the fight, and he got a decision and went on the road and like a true champion and won his world title against Kosai Tanaka, right? So he comes into this fight with the opportunity of a lifetime to go in there and dethrone Jesse Bam Rodriguez, and what a great, you know, chance for him, because he's now on that world stage, he's now on that world level, and you know, we all know what Bam is about. Bam is a pound for pound top 10 caliber fighter. You know, he's almost pound for pound list. He's on mine as well. Not as high as other people, but he's on my list. And Jesse Bam Rodriguez, when you talk about him, you talk about a guy who is a master of footwork, pivoting, angles, these kind of things. He's great at these. He's a master of it. There's very few masters of anything in boxing, but he's a master at that. So when I, like, get into the fight in my mind and I break it down, like, from a stylistic standpoint, I think it's going to be a great action fight. I think it has the potential to be one of, if not the most exciting fight of Jesse Bam Rodriguez's career. And I think this is actually me getting what I want as a boxing fan, because I'm happy that Bam got some big names on his resume, but I've been getting tired of him fighting these old guys, you know, like Quadras and Rungvisai and Gallo. These are great fighters for their time, but they're past their time now. And Bam's been making a name off all these guys. So I've been asking for Bam to fight some younger, fresher fighters. And you know what? This ticks all those boxes. Fumulele Cafu, undefeated fighter, 26 years old, newly crowned world champion, hungry for more. This is the kind of opponent I want to see Bam Rodriguez in the ring with. And not just that, you know, Cafu can punch. You know, he's got 8 knockouts in 14 fights. So he's packing some punch in the ring. He did drop Kosai Tanaka, you know, and Tanaka doesn't have like an iron chin. Like, he's been dropped before. You know, he's always proven to be a vulnerable fighter, but still, this is a guy that can punch. This is a guy that is going to be taller than Bam Rodriguez. This is a fighter that's going to actually have, he has a height advantage, and they have the same reach. So in terms of measurables, it's a good fight for Cafu, right? In terms of experience and the experience he's been getting, it's a good fight for Cafu and Bam. And I just think it's happening at the right time. You know, hungry, young, fresh fighter fighting Bam Rodriguez in a unification fight. I can't really ask for much more. So I would expect Bam, obviously, to be the favorite and win. But I'll tell you right now, this has the makings to be the hardest fight of Bam Rodriguez, and it would not shock me if he went in there and beat Bam, because Cafu beat Kosai Tanaka, and Kosai Tanaka is a damn good fighter. You know, the only guy to beat Kosai Tanaka was Kazuda Ioka, who's a borderline Hall of Famer. You know. So that being said, you know, this is to me, I already know when Bam goes to do fight week, people are gonna talk to Bam about, like, you know, they're gonna talk to him about Roman Gonzalez and Inoue. He's gonna get those stupid questions, but I look at this as a big trap fight for him, because even though Cafu is a champion, he's not gonna come in with the fanfare from the media and from the public as a champion. So there could be a potential for a letdown. But I love the fight. I haven't loved the Bam Rodriguez fight like this ever, this much. You know, I think this is the best fight he's had in his career. Just when you consider the stage of his career, who he's fighting, the stage of that opponent's career, who they are, and what they bring to the ring. I can't see this not being an explosive and a fan-friendly fight for the fans, and it's an unification fight, so it has significance in the division. So really excited about that. And then in the co-main event, you got a really interesting fight. Now, it's interesting because, you know, Diego Pacheco, I've been a supporter of him for a long time. I've been knowing Diego for like what, 5 or 6 years now. You know, on a professional level. You know, we see each other at fights and talk on Instagram from time to time. Been a big believer in Diego for a long time, since like 2018. Probably since he turned pro. And I've always said that I think he's Matchroom. He's the best American fighter from Matchroom. I always thought he was better than Raymond Ford and Mark Castro and these kind of guys. He had now before I get into the matchup, he's fighting Cherry Mccumby, which I think is going to be an amazing fight. But I got to note this because I got to be a professional and do my job. And I had no problem asking Diego this to his face and, you know, talking to him about this. But he was in line to fight Christian and Billy. That fight was supposed to go to purse bid. There was a whole big thing before his last fight against Steve Nelson where he said that Billy didn't want the fight. The fight was supposed to go to purse bid now, and it didn't happen because he's fighting Mccumby. So I want to know what happened, because that could be classified as a duck. And Billy is a higher ranked fighter than Mccumby. And that to me would have been a fight where we really would have solved some things at super middleweight as to who is who in the top contenders, right? So, you know, I need clarity on that. But nonetheless, Cherry Mccumby versus Pacheco is a really good fight. You know, Mccumby, he's a fighter with good amateur background. This will be Mccumby's first fight since the loss to Caleb Plant. You know, he fought Caleb Plant, put him on his ass. He dropped Caleb Plant in the 4th round. He's gonna bring the fight to Pacheco. He's gonna look to hurt this kid. And Mccumby's got some athleticism. He's got some good attributes as far as his physical gifts. And I would say, just from my recollection, probably arguably the biggest puncher Pacheco's fought in his career, because when you look at Pacheco's record, you know, he fought Steve Nelson, who was a big-time puncher. But outside of Steve Nelson, and maybe you could say like a Manuel Gallegos, who's a pretty good puncher as well, I would say I would class Mccumby as the number 1 or number 2 hardest puncher he's ever fought. And, you know, I think the thing for Diego is, you know, he's a tall guy. He's pushing 6'4" with a 79-inch reach advantage. So he's a super middleweight, but he's got a heavyweight reach, and it's about using that reach and exploiting that and keeping Mccumby on the outside. Because I'll tell you this: if Mccumby can get at mid-range, get underneath those long arms of Pacheco, he's got the power to really make this a hard, difficult fight. And who knows, he might get his O took. So I think both Bam and Pacheco are both in some really tough fights where either one of them could lose their O. In fact, not only would it not surprise me if either one of them lost their O, I'm actually expecting them. I'm expecting one of them to lose their O in this fight, because these are the kind of tough fights that they're in. You know, they're in there against real competition. So, look, as I just announced on this channel, I'll be in Japan for God knows how long. But by the time this fight happens in on July 19th at the Ford Center at the Star in Frisco, I should be back. So I have every intention of the world of making this fight and covering this fight, and you know, going back to Texas. So if you're in the Texas area, this is a fight that I'm planning on covering. So, you know, if you want to meet me, I'll probably be there. But nonetheless, you guys take care. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about Bam versus Cafu? I think that's a very great fight. I think Bam is in for a very, very tough fight, and Cafu is getting a chance to prove himself at the world level. And Pacheco and Mccumby is an absolute shootout. That's going to be a shootout, a Texas shootout. So, to my recollection, I would think that this is the best Matchroom American card in a long time, on paper at least. I don't know who else they're going to add. I did get confirmation because I did see Mark Castro at the I saw Mark Castro at the Naoya Inoue fight over the weekend, and we talked because I know him a little bit, and he did confirm to me that he's gonna be on this card. So I know he's on the card, but I don't know who else on the card besides Mark Castro. So yeah, those are my thoughts. So you guys leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe, and like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. I'm in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada, and we got a monster in town. For more great boxing content from America to Japan and everywhere else in between, make sure you guys subscribe, stay tuned, and keep it locked.